Anyway, good morning, and I've got some apologies for people who couldn't be here. That's Natasha Debro, Ray and Sue Debro, Benji, my grandson, and my mate Desmond Lovell, who's a really good friend of the family, who's been around with us for like 65 years nearly. Yes. So getting on to Mum, Mum was born Daphne Margaret Debro on the 11th, which was yesterday. People probably know that, and so she would have been 94 yesterday. Child of Daphne and Andrew Debro, and Mum was born into what would become a large family. 1929, the year of the stock market crash, most of us know that was the time that it happened, and in some ways Perth probably didn't even notice that it happened. Nevertheless, there are a lot of people who grow up during that time who told stories of those years, and there are people here who lived through them. The Debro family lived in a small house on a couple of acres in Surrey Street, Bassendean. The land was well used as a poultry farm, fruit trees, a creek that crisscrossed the property. It was mostly just called the creek. With domestic animals, plenty of fresh produce generated, and everybody in the family worked from a young age. As a result, as Mum told me often, she felt the family was lucky during the Great Depression and later in the war years because there was always fresh food on the table. And my grandmother was a very good cook. Mum went to Bassendean Primary School, and I think from what she says she was bullied a little bit, but she was lucky. She had a brother, a big brother named John, and she always felt safe. Life would have been for her, like most children, school, then work, home, onto the property, work hard. There was what would some have seen as a never-ending supply of younger siblings being born. Alfred, who died shortly after birth. Auntie Laurel. Uncle Ron. James, who died in his 6th year. Uncle Keith. No doubt being surrounded by younger siblings is where Mum learned her magic, the magic of caring. Mum was the smallest in the family, and her nickname was Dot. And her family and close friends got to call her Dot or Auntie Dot, which added to her already a name of Daph or Daphne. And me and my brother and sister used to call her Daffy. There's a story behind that, but probably that might be better left for later. The war came and went, and in 1945, Mum became an elder sister again. A new addition to the family, Brian, who probably deserves his own book, bringing the total of children and adults living in a small house to 9. And I knew that house. I don't know how 9 people fitted in it, but they did. Plenty of pets. Some of the photos of Mum show happy as a teenager, but we don't have the photos, which I really have to apologise for. Mum had a happy life as a teenager and in her 20s. At some point, Mum became a dressmaker in training. I don't know for how long she did that. And then also worked at Mayfair Theatre and Woolworths. In March 1951, Mum married Lance Bransby, a truck driving ex-serviceman. So Mum became Mrs Bransby, or Mrs B, to add to our already growing list of AKAs. Things got pretty tough for Mum over a period of 4 years. She had 3 children, Larry, 52, me 53, Susan in 55. During that time, with little support from Lance, Mum got on trying to raise 3 children. She had some horror stories which she passed down around the times. One of them, like living in a shed with a dirt floor, picking fruit at 8 months pregnant with Sue. She had to and from Boulder a couple of times, but after Sue was born, Mum moved with me, Larry and Sue into the house in Surrey Street with Uncle John, Auntie Laurel, Uncle Ron all moved out and married. The house was still a small house, but another 4 people turned up inside it. It had an outside toilet, put men in a truck that emptied it, no fridge, just an ice box, no running water, hot running water, a fireplace in a lounge and a metal stove. Granddad, Grandma, Uncle Keith, Brian. And we came to a total of 8. It was a good life. It was good for us as children. We enjoyed what we were doing. Mum was under strict guidelines from my granddad. Work, save, be home early, be responsible. This went on for a few years with her saving and partnering with Lance again at the end of 1958. Dad, Mum, Larry, Keith moved into a war service home. In Green Avenue, Chew Hill, now Waikato. Susan would follow into the home in 1960. Then, with the family complete, still working at Woolworths in Leadville, Mum settled into the grind of food, clothes, school, sport. Mum made the best of life. We caught up often with her direct family, both sides of our family, with any amount of good times with the Bransby family, which was our extended family in Maylands. And I'm happy to see that Norma, Fred and Sue are here today. Mum was strict. With us. Everything was no, sort of. But I guess Mum saw 3 bright, happy children getting close to being young adults, and was thinking that the adolescence and army is just around the corner. Who knows? Well, it was. Just around the corner. An unexpected twist. Life was about to take a new path. 1967, Glenn was born. So with a 15, 14, 12-year-old, we realised pretty quickly that young Glenn was the diversion we needed. We ran amok. Poor Mum. All the hard work keeping us in line, gone. Over the next few years, the house became a regular haunt for the local teenagers, some who became lifelong friends. Green Avenue kept the excitement going for Mum, and the late 60s for teenage baby boomers was a good time to be around, and we had a good time. Time went quickly. Larry and myself left home. Susan had a base to live from. Mum was raising a new child, Glenn. Mum might have thought that with the older 3 grabbing independence and with Glenn only to raise, it would be easy. Get that done and see what the future brings. Well, life had another twist in the road. In 1972, Mum presented Damien to the world, Mum's first grandchild. And sooner rather than later, Mum gets her mother's hat on again, and she now has 2 children to raise. As we all know, Damien was a gift. An angel. with Glenn, Damien, Balcatta House had a refurb. Became a place with a stream of neighbourhood kids hanging around. Things were still tough though. Mum could not work with her child raising commitments. Glenn and Damien were slightly easier to raise than the previous three. Still a tough gig. Finances were tough, but Mum enjoyed raising children. Through the late 70s and into the 80s, it was pretty much Mum, Glenn, Damien. Larry was living in Perth, he was never far away. There was also Mum's siblings and the church, Uncle Ron, Auntie Ev, the rest of Mum's often and as not included Mum in their life, Mum's family. And then with Dad, myself and Susan living in Wickham Point, Samson area, Mum, Glenn and Damien were regular visitors to the Pilbara. During that time, Larry took over ownership of the Balcatta House, ensuring Mum would always have a place to call home. In 1986, the second grandchild arrived. Damien was the first, Tegan. And 1987, we had Mason come along, the children of myself and Diana. Followed closely a year or so later with Ashley in 1988, and then a few years after that, Luke. So we have fourth and fifth grandchildren from Mum, children of Susan and Eon. Into the 90s, with all the children grown or nearly fully grown, Mum and Larry had a shared existence in Balcatta. Glenn was a daily visitor, Damien had spread her wings, and all westwards would arrive occasionally. Mum was always seemed happy. In 1994, the sixth grandchild arrived, Carly. And in 1997, the seventh grandchild arrived, Alicia, children Glenn and Julie. The latest two additions, Carly and Alicia, became the grandchildren that would figure so much in Mum's later life. Bond was strong. Mum spent any amount of time looking after them. The Balcatta House became alive again. During the 2000s, Mum had a major health scare. Luckily, with 21st century medicine, Mum was back to normal. Mum did, though, have ongoing problems with the knees, which I think runs in the family, the Debros. Anyway, time does not stand still. Grandchildren grew up, and Ashley presented Mum with her first great-grandchild, Bailey. Mason and Kelly, later on, not long after, presented Mum with her second grandchild, great-grandchild, Benji. In the 2017, the hardest news ever for her. Larry. Was diagnosed with a terminal illness. He died in 2018, but prior to his passing, he'd arranged for Mum to move from the House of Memories, Green Avenue, 60 years worth of memories, into Sylvia Street, Balcatta. Larry's one, for a better word, or a wake, was a trip back in time for some of us. We had Tina, who's appeared today, Washer, Ian, Paul, and our next door neighbours, the Fletchers, turned up, and the house bounced again one more night. The new house was something that Mum was just so proud to have. All the comforts, and still in Balcatta. And we all saw it as a place to see Mum through, with visits from the families in the northwest and I was living in Perth then at the time. Mum was having a good life as she was into her later years. In 2019, Mum's 91st year, recovering from about a 5-hour knee operation, which was the doctors, for people who don't know, didn't know whether Mum was going to live through that or not, but she bit the bullet and said, yep, put me under, fix me up, and she did get fixed up. We celebrated Mum's 90th. That was a good turnout. We had a big turnout of people for Mum's 90th. And in 2022, Carly and Brennan presented Mum with her third great-grandchild, Aston. And not to be outdone, a short time later, Alicia and Mason come up with their Mum's fourth great-grandchild, Henley. But age was catching up with Mum again. A couple of falls, some time in hospital, and Mum knew she needed to do something else. And we all know Mum, no way was going to go into a nursing home. So Angel Damien turned up again. And Damien had been around with Mum that many times over the last 10 years. It was just, whenever there was a problem, Damien was here looking after Mum. So many times over the years, Damien and Edward then took Mum into their care in Karratha. Mum was lucky to have spent her last few months in her life in Damien's care with Edward, surrounded by Sue and Ashley and Bailey. Thanks, Damien. Right. So, goodbye, Mum. You're with you, God. Thank you. Anybody else want to get up and say?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. For those that don't know me, I'm Luke. I'm one of Grandma's grandchildren and son of Sue. We wrote this as a bit of a thing to say today, and I'm going to be saying it on behalf of Mum. From the top. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. Wow. My mum really can draw a crowd. Mum was a modest, unassuming woman who opened her heart and her door to many and was a warm, friendly person who attracted good-hearted people right into her 90s. People just liked to chat and enjoy her memories. She was a good listener and could hold an informed, intelligent conversation for hours. Mum taught us resourcefulness and to be thrifty, and would often be found repairing things around the house. This ambition one time led to fixing the electric kettle so it could still run without a lid. This, of course, was a learning curve for my brother Larry as he tested the water temperature with his finger, sending him flying from the kitchen into the dining room. Above all else, Mum could keep the show on the road against all adversities. This could be at the age of 90 with a fresh knee reconstruction, throwing bananas and tissue boxes at the hospital room doorway to try and get the nurse's attention. Mum was a mum to so many people throughout her life, spanning 4 generations, and had a nurturing heart that touched many lives. She learnt to care for others from a young age as she embraced the role of big sister to her younger siblings. Mum later became a mother to my three brothers, myself and Damien. But it didn't just stop at her own children. Mum was so great to our friends that even after 60 years of friendship, many still referred to her as their other mum, some of whom are here today. As the next generation rolled through, Mum had the opportunity to be the grandmother to Tegan, Mason, Ashley and Luke, and had particularly close bonds with Carly and Alicia, who she would spend many weekends throughout their childhood and adult life just spending time at Mum's. Most recently, Mum was blessed to be a great grandmother to Bailey, Benji, Aston and Henley, which brought her such happiness as Mum found so much joy within babies. Mum worked hard to raise us to be healthy, decent people, even if sometimes we didn't always make that an easy task. Mum was a reliable breadwinner of the household for most of our childhood and would give us the shirt off of her back, but her sense of humour never tarnished throughout the hard times. Mum and I thoroughly enjoyed the fun times we had in our older years, simply sharing jokes over a humble tea and a crossword, and I was always amazed at her ability to recall detailed family history right up into her last days. I'm positive if Mum had one more thing to say to us all, it would simply be, I'm fine. We love you, Mum, and we'll always miss you. Thank you. Hello again. I'm going to be reading on behalf of Alicia and all the grandkids, I'm sorry. I have to rehearse this one. A much-loved grandma. The day that God called your name, it broke my heart in two. But heaven needed an angel, and the one he picked was you. I just wish he could have waited and let you stay with me. But you have to let memories in your heart. But you have left memories in my heart, and that's where they'll always be. I just wish I could rewind the clock or make it turn real slow. I could have hugged you one more time before you had to go. No matter how much time will pass, I will miss you every day. Keep shining bright in heaven so you can light my way.
Thanks for coming, everybody. I know that it didn't actually turn out the way we all envisioned, with some of Mum's favourite music, and the amount of pictures, 170 odd pictures I had ready to show up on these screens of Mum all through her life, the happiness she showed, the smile she had, the people who, just about everybody here would have featured in one or more of those photos. Thank you all for coming.
Here and give my love to everybody, because I love you so much. Take care. I love you. Bye bye.